So we're going to do a short demo on how to create a shapefile and some basic editing. I've added a DOQ, so it's as my base layer, so that's going to be the nicely cleaned up aerial image that'll be our background. I've saved my project to my workspace so that everything automatically goes in there. I'm going to right click in the catalog and say new shapefile. Call this cover types, change it to a polygon. And I want to make sure that my projection matches the image exactly, so I'm going to import from that exact image that I'm using for my base map. It's going to then update it, it'll match perfectly and make it nice and easy. So I'm going to say OK here, and before I start editing, I'm going to come in and create a field for cover types so that I can update the text on each of the cover types as we go along. You can also do that inside the attribute table before you start editing. Once you start editing, you're not going to be able to do that. So if we come in and add a field, we can call it comments. Change that one into a text. And now we've got that as an attribute also. We don't have any records because we haven't created any polygons yet. So I'm going to close out of my attribute table and start editing. Okay, so once we start editing, we need to find our Create Features window. If it's not showing, you can come down to Editing Windows and say Create Features. Mine's actually hiding down here, so I'm just going to click on it, select which layer I'm trying to create features in, and then you can see it opens our construction tools down here. And I'll start with a polygon. And I'm going to start on the edge here and do this little clump of forest down in here. So every time you click a vertex, it adds more detail. You don't want to make it too generalized, so make sure that you're adding them in a sufficient detail to actually show all of the edge. And if you make a mistake, you can right-click directly on the point and delete the vertex. Okay, so here we've got this, and we're going to go into our attribute button up here, and under cover types we can put in forest. So you may have noticed that along this side over here, we make this partially we're going to use something so we can actually see through it. We'll use a 10% hatch so we can see where the lines are. But this is actually a wetland, it's not a forest. So because it's right along the edge, I can come up here and use my cut polygons tool, and I can go in, start on the outside so that it knows exactly where we want to start, follow along the edge of the forest, and click outside so it knows where to end. So now you can see we've got our forest polygon, but we've also got a separate one for wetland. We're going to have to go back into our attributes and update that so it comes up as a wetland. Okay, so one other thing to show you is we're going to create another polygon. We'll do that right up here, and we'll follow the forest again along here. And I don't want to go too far because I don't want to mess up and have to start over. So I'm going to finish with this little piece down here. You can see we've got water in here, but it's not along the edge. So what I'm going to do is create a new polygon inside that old one. So it's actually covered by both of them right now. And I can come up here to my editing toolbar and click clip. And actually before I do that, I just want to show you. So we've got this polygon that actually includes the area of that one too. So if we come in, open our attribute table, we can figure out which one we're looking at. Set it up here. So this is our forest polygon. So I'm going to come in here and type that as forest. So you can also type it directly into the attribute table. But this is the one that I wanted to make separate so that the area that's inside this isn't called both forest and wetland. So if I come up here to my editor toolbar, select clip, and I want to discard the area that intersects, what it's going to do is now when I click on forest, you can see it doesn't include that little area inside. So we'll call this water. Okay, so now we've got one forest polygon, one wetland polygon, another forest polygon, and a water polygon. Okay, so let's come back and let's actually use our autocomplete polygon because we had some area up there that wasn't included in forest yet. Let's make this a brighter color so it shows up a little better so we can see where we're working with. Okay, so we're going to use autocomplete so that the edges are exactly the same. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to start inside the polygon that exists. come up, follow the edge, and end inside there. So you can see I'm a little bit messy down in there. So if I switch to my edit tool, I can get it so all of the vertices show up. If I zoom in really close, I can move this one up here so that it's not making that weird shape down there. Okay, so now if I zoom to my layer again, I can see this whole area, and I've got these two polygons up here that I want to merge together. So I got them both selected. I used the shift tool so that I could select both of them. And I can come in here and hit merge. So this is the one we already updated the attribute to call it forest. This one doesn't have it. So I want to merge them into the one that already has the attribute. So I'll select that one. And now it removes the boundary in between because it was exact. If it wasn't exact, it wouldn't remove the boundary completely. So you can use this to create like lots of little pieces of editing so that you don't end up going all the way around a complicated shape only to realize that you actually messed up. Lots of things you can do to clean up afterwards. So now that we've got this big polygon selected here, we can see if we wanted to zoom in, we can see we weren't exact on it. So if we wanted to clean up that edge a little bit, I can use my reshape feature tool. Again, start just inside because it makes it easier for Arc to know exactly what we're trying to fix. And I will go around and end inside, and it will update that boundary for me, make it a little bit cleaner. So you can go in and do some cleanup after the fact if you want. Whenever you are done editing, you can come up and just hit editor, stop editing, make sure you save all your edits, and you're good to go. So that was just creating a couple of polygons, but just to make it show up a little bit better, let's go in and set our symbology so that it's symbolizing by cover types. And these colors are horrible. We're going to set forest to green, water to blue, and we'll do wetland as kind of a light green. Okay, so then it has updated it nicely. We've got some weird kind of background outline things going on here, so I'm gonna make that one not show up either. Okay, so that's your quick tutorial on editing. Hope that helps.